Yeah, good day, sanibonani njani. My name is Mpumalanga Mshango Lukaku Dongala Mafusu Amhlobo officer Nakuba Kena. So guys, on today's video we are in a Hammarsdale township, which is also known as Mpumalanga township. Agiyona Mpumalanga province, but rather it is Mpumalanga township, which is situated in the south of Durban. It's between actually Pietermaritzburg and the city of Durban, so it's right in between. So Hammarsdale is a township that was formed in the 1960s, precisely about 1967 up to 1972, whereby the first 4 units were actually built. Iyaziwa Hammarsdale kuno units 1, units 3, units 4, angazi ne-unit 6, angazi ukuthi kugcina up to units 1 at this moment. But then these were the first 4 units that were built up to in 1972, and this was also because of the motivation of the industrial hub that was happening in the area, which were implemented by the apartheid government after taking power in 1944. So it resulted in a lot of changes, and especially in the creation of townships around South Africa. So Mpumalanga was later built in 1967. The first residents from Mpumalanga township were mostly people who were in the Georgedale area. So some of them were removed and actually placed in Mpumalanga township. This place has a lot of history. It has a lot of prominent people who have come from this township along the way. But for today and right now, I'm just showing you guys the situation in 2024 of Hammarsdale township. When it comes to the allocation of houses in the 1970s, after the building of the first 4 units, it was precisely Uguti umuzi were going to be given to a couple which was married, not just married traditionally, but married Lungu. So those were just some of the imposes that were head or that were pushed to abantu bakithi abamnyama. In order to receive housing here, you had to be married in the modern way, so the Western way. If you couldn't be married, you couldn't use in when you shade traditionally, you couldn't get a house in this situation. Mind you, some of these people who were pushed to a Hammarsdale township were actually removed in their own lands, mostly some of them from Georgedale, if you're looking at the history of this area. Also, another option was that Izindli were given to the son if they worked in one of the factories, because the whole motive of this township was built around the industrial hub of Hammarsdale, which was created then. So kuna mafactory maningi even up until today. The textile industry, kuna no Rainbow, which is well known in Hammarsdale. So a lot of people who are from this township, they actually do work in these factories, and the whole motivation of this township and the creation of this small town to say was also because of the industrial hub that was built in this area. There is a lot of political things that happened along the way. Organizations that happened that took place in the 1970s especially and 1980s, because Hammarsdale during that time was actually quite dangerous because of the conflicts politically and also traditionally that happened in the 1970s and 80s. Organization mpura. So if you ask the adults of a township, Hammarsdale, they will tell you about these situations in the 1970s of how dangerous Hammarsdale was. Also, it was linked to Olundi headquarters by Inkatha Freedom Party. Siyayazi Inkatha bafethu eyayiphethwe ugatsha ubuthelezi umuntu owayisungula, and their input when it comes to Ulundi being the headquarters for the Bantu traditional authorities, which the apartheid government worked hand in hand with Inkatha to maybe try and control some of the areas, especially that are under black leadership or black people living in them. So you'd find in these townships, in these areas, in these rural areas in KwaZulu-Natal, Inkatha had a huge impact and a huge control in the development of whatsoever in the organizations of these townships. So yeah, kwakukhona oqonda some of the community groups that were assisting in ensuring gang membership is reduced, trying to make Hammarsdale a more prominent place, especially in the 1970s and 80s, because these were dangerous times. Kwakunamaqwaito kamagang ayehlupha in the 1970s, ngabo 1971 kwakunamagubhu okuthiwa amaqwaito kunomsingazane. So those were the two groups that were actually terrorizing the community of Hammarsdale. They were going around, the typical gangster mentalism when it comes to these areas and the townships at the time. But the elder people and the organization, they tried by all means to reduce uklanya youth at that time, especially so for us who know people who grew up in Hammarsdale, when they actually tell you about the situations in the 1970s of Hammarsdale ukuthi, if you uyintombazane nje uphuma uyihambela, you are not sure ukuthi uzobuya usa-right noma something could happen to you. Some of these gangs could take you along the way beyozenzela noma yini kwena. So there is a lot of horror stories when it comes to the development of the Mpumalanga township. But then when we speak today of Mpumalanga township and some of the good things that it has, obviously in the industrial park zone such as Rainbow, Ilamafekra, Tengwasha, there's also a lot of schools, high schools, primary schools, and they also do have a Tvet college known as Ilangeni College, which is actually good when it comes to post-school education development. They do have OSASA, they do have clinics such as Ohleng which they pretty much give a lot of things to the community of Hammarsdale, and actually people from outside of Hammarsdale do travel to these clinics just to get some free healthcare, which is all provided by the state of South Africa. They also have a Junction Mall, which is one of the biggest malls in Hammarsdale, and they also do have a new shopping center that they just built and opened, I think about 2023, which is next to Wamqoyi, the famous taxi rank in the Hammarsdale township side. Another factor is in Hammarsdale is the same road where they do have the Hammarsdale Stadium. This is where you see our team like Golden Arrows in actually hosting some of their games. MDC games are also played in this stadium, and also some NFD teams, they do use the stadium that we are currently passing right now. And light on the right side is actually from the stadium. So you do get a chance to watch the best teams in South Africa actually kick the ball in this township. When you look Lapapambili on the far left, that is the Ilangeni College that the township of Hammarsdale actually do have. Some of the prominent people that I would love to mention, which come from Hammarsdale, West George Dale, kunomuntu kwakuthiwa James Mpanza, who was born in 1889 at George Dale. This is the same person or the same man who is known as the godfather or the founding father of Soweto, because he held and led a land invasion in 1944, which resulted in the development of the Soweto township, which is one of the biggest townships in South Africa. So if you speak of James Panza, you are speaking of a man who do come in these areas of Hammarsdale, precisely at George Dale. Some of the people who also come from this township, ukhuluma ngoSibusiso Zuma, who is a top soccer player in South Africa, who was well known. Sibusiso Zuma played for teams like FC Copenhagen overseas, and also played for Orlando Pirates, Sundowns, Super Sports, African Wanderers, and he also played for Armenia, Bielefeld, also overseas. So he had a good career when it comes to his footballing career, and he's also from the Hammarsdale township. So when it comes to the situation in 2024 of living in this township, I would say it's slowly developing. As you can see, Lama Garage that I'm just passing right now, it was recently built because I started coming a lot Gule township from Boma 2018, 2017. So I have been in and out of this township, and I'm actually witnessing a lot of developments when it comes to the livelihoods in this township and how people are developing using izindlu zabo to develop the area, businesses, amakaraja amasha, new shopping centers. These are things that have been developed in the past 5 years. And another thing I would love to mention, some of the benefits if you're actually gonna buy a house and want to live in this area. There is a new developments that they're creating between Durban and also Pietermaritzburg, just close to Hammarsdale, Pine Town. There is a new town abayibiza nge-Midrand alike, but it's called West Town. The name of this town that they are currently building, it's under construction. Abanye bathi it should be open in 2025, but then the points I'm trying to make about this new development that they are creating is that if you actually build the properties around Hammarsdale, around these Pine Town townships that are next to this West Town, you're actually looking at making some extra money. You're actually looking at maybe hoping the value of your property, if you buy and build right now, it will increase because of the developments that are happening around this area. But then yeah guys, a lot can be said when it comes to buying properties in this area. You are looking at 2-4 room for the price of 450,000. That is the minimum I could see online. But if 4 room in Hammarsdale Township, you have to have like 500,000. It's gonna get you a 4 room. It is a bit expensive compared to Mashu, because 4 room Mashu you do get them for about 300 and something, 400,000 in other townships. But right now 4 rooms are busy in almost every township, so you are looking at least having 500,000 just to buy properties in these townships, unless of course you're gonna be buying in the left side as I'm driving right now. So the left side is part of the rural land. Umhlaba land is mostly cheaper and our coke is in so you're gonna get it cheaper and you're gonna be able to live and buy property much cheaper in such areas, which is actually not bad because it's also very close to the township. It's also very close to these factories that I'm currently entering right now. So Mpumalanga Hammarsdale, the whole motivation of this township is actually the beginning of where I'm driving right now. This is where you get all the factories in Hammarsdale, the textile industries. You get to rainbow. Sometimes it's always smelling gas here. I do not know what they're actually making in these factories, but this is like the industrial hub of Hammarsdale. So you'd find a lot of people are actually working in these factories. This is where they make the means and the livelihoods to ensure and they actually feed their families. So this township is not too bad when it comes to employment because of such factories. Other than that, it's also accessible to closer by towns such as Pine Town, which is not too far. Hillcrest, and then there's also Durban, and then there's also Pietermaritzburg, which is right in between these townships. So you are able to work you are able to work in Pietermaritzburg and actually live in a Hammarsdale. Besides you're going to be paying a toll gate if you are going to Durban daily. Namatex aseyabiza-ke futhi ukuthi usuke lana kuleli lokishi and actually go to that township. But other than that, this is a place where one can actually build and live with his family and actually invest if they want to invest when it comes to businesses, car wash, because there is a lot of people in this area. When there's a lot of people, it means more business opportunities, and also there's a lot of factories. So truck fast food in the morning selling selling fried. We're actually gonna make something because of the amount of factory people which are always up and down in this road, especially in the mornings and afternoons. So you are gonna make a nice income if you're gonna be selling in this area. And also on the right side, Lana, if you are looking to start a tuck shop, or you are looking to stock, isn't there is this big factory on the right side, Lana. I wouldn't say it's a factory, but it's like a wholesale whereby you can buy things in bulk, Red Bull, chips and so on. So sometimes I do actually buy some of the things in this wholesale market. This is where people who actually sell and have a tuck shop restock their stuff. So these are just some of the plugs in this area that you can use to your benefit. Other than that, it is enough about the Hammarsdale. This is just some of the history lessons I'm trying to give you about different townships and areas in South Africa that you can live and invest in. Please do remember to like, subscribe, comment down, and ask any questions regarding this area. I do have some small information, but other than that, it's in your dango.